What's up everyone, Kewbix here and welcome back to a brand new video. So today we have a massive birthday unboxing from teamcubicle.com, and of course if you want any of these puzzles you can get them with discount code Kewbix at checkout from teamcubicle. And so thanks so much to them for making this video possible. Now usually for birthdays and Christmas I like to get non-WCA puzzles, some weird and obscure puzzles that I've never really seen before and that I think look really cool. So that's what I did this year, and let's get right into it. There's some really unique puzzles that I really want to try. Also, I got a new phone for my birthday, so if you guys want to let me know what you think of the quality in the comments, I'd really appreciate that. Alright, anyways, let's get into the cubes. Alright, so we'll start off with the first two cubes, the Chi O2 cube and the Chi O2 spinner. This one just goes right through the centers. I don't even know really how to explain it, except the centers kind of just move. It's super simple, and then this one just spins. Definitely a lot more fun. Ooh, look at that. So next up we have some Skewb shape mods, and so we'll start off with this Meilong double Skewb. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's just a Skewb, except every time you turn layers, it takes the centers with it. So that means whenever you start to do some algorithms, some of these centers move. I don't really want to scramble this right now since I do not know how to solve it, and I'll wait till later to do that. But I think if you just keep repeating this move, it should go back to normal. Here, I'll see you in a moment. So that actually took quite a long time, but the turning is actually pretty good. So then next up we have these Meilong Skewb mix-up, the Skewb mix-up 2 and the Skewb mix-up 3. So this one's just a Skewb, except if you turn it halfway, then you can turn these like that and like that. Yeah, it kind of looks like cheese. I don't know why I thought of that. Then for the Skewb mix-up 2, it has two little pieces right here. So if you turn it halfway, I think you can turn it in fourths instead of halves. So that's pretty neat. I'm not going to scramble these yet. And then for the Skewb mix-up 3, you can turn it in thirds. So you can do it like that, or like that, or like that, and it gets pretty wacky. So these are really neat. Okay, so next up we have some wacky Moyu Pyraminx shaped puzzles. I think they go in difficulty from like easiest to, I assume this would be the hardest. So let me try to figure out what that would be. I assume something like that. Let's just try it with how I have. So we'll start off with the easiest. This is the Moyu corner twist Pyraminx, and that almost flew out of my hands. This turning is like, requires a lot of force, but I mean, it's kind of satisfying, like that clicking noise. But yeah, it requires a lot of force to turn that, but it clicks right into place. This just takes 4 moves to solve, and you can literally just pink, 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 blue. And then all the colors are solved. This one is like the Pyraminx Duo. I think it is. It's just called the Bead Pyraminx. I think this also only takes 4 moves to solve. So I think if you... Okay, match that and that. Oh wait, maybe I need to... Hold up. Oh. There we go. Yeah, that was pretty easy. It's kind of hard to see how the 4 moves are going to play out, but yeah, still pretty easy. So next up we have the Moyu Boomerang Pyraminx, and this thing is hard to turn. I mean, like, things want to move out of place so much. Like, look at that. Jeez. It's very sandy and rough. I always feel like it's gonna pop. Or I mean, I guess I only really started playing with this, but I keep feeling like it's gonna pop, I should say. Yeah, it kind of hurts your fingers, all these sharp corners. I'm not gonna try to solve this one right now because I don't really know how, and I don't want this to take forever, but look at that. Jeez. Okay, something felt a little out of place. I'm gonna move on. So then here is the Moyu Triangle Pyraminx, I assume just because it has a little triangle in the center. It's exactly like the last one, except it has a center. So like the first two, you know, this one turns on the corners, this one turns on the corners and has a center, and then this one turns on the faces, and then the same with this one, except it has centers. And the centers move with the corners, I think. Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to solve. I think these should all be pretty easy. And so then here is the Maple Leaf Pyraminx. It looks like a Clover Pyraminx, except it doesn't turn on the edges. It just turns on the corners like this. It looks pretty cool, and it probably turns the best out of all of them. It definitely feels a little bit floppy, but oh, that feels like it's gonna pop. It should be pretty easy. I think one little commutator just mixes up those two, so that's actually gonna be pretty darn easy. Oh wait, I just remembered something. This is the Moyu Windmill Pyraminx, but then this is the Triangle Pyraminx because it has a triangle in the center. Just like that one, except this one has a cooler triangle. This one actually does turn pretty well, and it should be pretty easy. Doing these commutators just moves around the centers, at least after doing a few. So it should be pretty easy to figure out. I'm not too worried about this one. But yeah, these are pretty wacky. I kind of like these. They're nice pastel colors, and they're all pretty cheap too. They're definitely all well under $10. So yeah, let's move on to the next puzzles. I really like these. So here's some more random Pyraminx shaped puzzles, and I guess we'll start off with the cheaty ones. Here's the cheaty corner twist master Morphix, I think, or just the corner master Morphix. This is literally like another cube I'm about to show you, but they call it something different. In the case of this puzzle, I do kind of like the matte finish over the black plastic. I think it looks really neat, and the shades are kind of cool. They're like a lighter shade, and I actually kind of like them. The turning is very satisfying. It's super clicky. So then here's the Clover Pyraminx I was talking about, which turns on the edges. And then it also has a little centerpiece, unlike the other one. It actually turns really well. I really like these stickered, cheaty Pyraminx shaped puzzles. They all turn super well, and just on black plastic, the stickers look super cool. Yeah, this shouldn't be that hard, I think. I mean, it just swaps a few pieces. It does a little commutators. I don't think you can turn it after doing part. Oh my gosh, you can. What? Well, that is gonna be a menace to solve. I've never really solved any jumbling puzzles, so this should be pretty fun. Fun and kind of frustrating. But yeah, this is definitely a cool puzzle. And so then that leads us to the cheaty Duomo Pyraminx, which kind of catches a little bit. It feels like some pieces want to hold back, but it turns pretty well. The corners don't turn by themselves. Every time you turn a corner, it turns all that. It doesn't turn bad. It takes the centers with it, which obviously makes it a little catchy. But doing 3 sets of moves like this swaps around the centers, and I just think that looks really cool. It looks like an eye, or like a little Pyraminx inside of there. That's really neat. So these are the final Pyraminx shaped puzzles. I guess we'll start off with this Yushin Penrose Pyraminx. This is one of the easiest cubes I've ever seen. Like, cubes that don't just take 4 moves to solve. I mean, like, this takes more than that, but it's just very, very easy. Because as you can see, this piece is the same as this piece, which is also the same as this piece and this piece. Yeah, so basically you can put any of these pieces in whoever's place, and it's not really gonna matter. And then these pieces can be turned, so it's really easy. It's literally just a Pyraminx except with 2 sides, because these 2 sides are formed into one, and same with these. The tips are pretty weird. They click right into place, but they keep going like off the cube, so that's kind of cool. The turning is actually pretty good. And then this is probably one of the worst turning cubes I've ever seen in my entire life. It's the Leafun Pyraminx Duo. It's very, very clicky, which, yeah, kind of satisfying, but I mean, it requires so much force, and it clicks like 3 times before it's actually turned. So this is gonna, oh my gosh, this is gonna be a struggle to solve. Not because it only takes like 4 moves, but because of the turning. The stickers are kind of like band-aids. Yeah, that turning is just awful. And then here's the Shengshou Pyraminx. It's super, super smooth. It has frosty plastic, which, I mean, I don't know. I don't really mind, except when this cube, it kind of slips out of my hands. Doing these commutators just swaps around these centers if you do it 3 times, just like the other cubes. The shades on this is kind of weird. Like, the yellow looks too much like mustard, and I don't really like it. Yeah, it turns really smooth, and these pieces are like huge. The faces seem so tiny. And so that brings us to the final Pyraminx shaped puzzle, which is the YJ Petal Pyraminx. The turning on this is extremely satisfying. Like, listen to that. It just clicks right into place, but very subtly. And you can actually turn the center. Let's say you want to turn it like this, and then you turn the center, so you can turn it again and swap around more pieces. So it's pretty wacky. I think it's just like the cheaty coin Pyraminx, which is the center that turns. I don't know if it's really any different, but it's stickerless and it looks pretty cool. This should be pretty fun to solve. I think it should be pretty easy because these center moving commutators make the solve so much easier. Oh, and really quick before we move on, since I just switched from Android to iPhone, I did have to get a new editor, so please let me know what you think. It might take some time for me to get completely used to this one. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't believe it. I missed one of the Skewb mods. Well, anyways, this is the Meilong Maple Leaf Skewb. You can turn this in half, and it's kind of like the Skewb mix-up ones. You just turn this, except it turns very awfully. You need to be super, super careful. It's kind of like I'm turning my paper 3x3. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is really a struggle to turn, but once you do, okay. Yeah, as you can see, this is definitely a pain. Okay, you really need to line it up, and it's still very sluggish, but I mean, it looks really cool, and it might be a fun solve, except those turns right there will definitely be a pain. So now before we move on to the last puzzle in this unboxing, and definitely my favorite puzzle, here are some 5 random obscure puzzles that I got that aren't really related to anything else. Here's the magic puzzle, which used to be a WCA event, and my brother scrambled it, so this is not what the solved state looks like. But if it was solved, you would just open it up, and all the rings would kind of be linked. And it's also a little bit more delicate than I was thinking. I feel like some turns I do, I probably shouldn't, because then I feel like I'm forcing something and one of these little strings will snap. Maybe I'm just being too cautious, but I don't know. That's just how I feel with this. Oh, and by the way, this is the Lingao magic, in case you were wondering the name. Alright, so the next cube is this Diansheng 2-layer super square star. That is a really long name. I kind of scrambled this one too whenever I opened this with my family. The turning, you know, isn't bad, except it's really annoying because after some turns like this gets misaligned, and so it takes a long time to really get it back. Like, you have to do so many turns before you can actually turn it again, which is annoying because then if you do have it where all you need to do is 1 turn left, but this isn't working, then you have to do so many turns before you can turn it, and then it's scrambled again. Okay, there we go. I don't know how I just did that, but that took a long time. And as you can see, where I want to just turn this, now I can only turn these layers. It's kind of like a square one, where you have a slice layer. The turning is kind of bad. It's just a cool little collector's item. So here's the Mfjs transparent barrel ready cube, which is another really long name. As you can see, it's like a barrel shape, and it's also like a ready cube, which is like a dino cube where it turns on the corners. I don't really know how to explain it at all since I've never had an actual ready cube, but I do have a ready minx and a barrel ready cube, so I kind of have every single mod of a ready cube except the real thing. It looks super cool. Like, man, I really love these transparent colors. And I don't know why they chose this as the solved state. That's gonna be kind of hard to figure out when I'm trying to solve it. But I mean, I'd say it looks really cool when it's already solved. I just don't know how I'll get it there. And yeah, you can see the screws, which I don't really know how I feel about that. I don't really care, I guess. And the turning is actually pretty smooth. It feels a little sticky kind of at first. And as you can see, if you turn this just like that, then you can kind of jumble it. I don't know if that's jumbling or just shape-shifting, but it definitely looks pretty wacky. So here's a Shengshou Phoenix cube, which I think is just a 3x3. Here's 1 layer, 2 layers, and then the 3rd layer. It just looks really weird. And the turning is actually pretty good though. It's very, very smooth. But look at the pieces, like, this really reminds me of the Shengshou gem. But yeah, it's honestly super smooth and pretty satisfying to turn. It shouldn't be that hard since, I mean, there are only 3 colors, but the only thing is this shape shifting could get pretty wacky. I feel like in a way it's like a Fisher cube, except with super tiny corners and edges on the middle layers. So then here's the Yushin Magic Eye Cube 2x2. I think this is super cool. It's literally just a 2x2, but instead of a little cubey coming out, it's a concave cube-ish place. You solve it based on the way these colors right here are facing. And as you can see, this looks like an eye, that's why it's named what it is. So this is white side, orange side. Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to solve, except it might be a little easier if like all of these were the same color. But yeah, the turning is not the greatest. This really reminds me of a Rubik's brand Void Cube. Well, actually, this layer turns really well. And so does this one, but this layer keeps catching like crazy. This shouldn't be that hard to solve. I mean, it's just a 2x2, but I'm not gonna solve it right now. That would just take too much time. I think it looks really cool. This will look super cool up by my other neat cubes on the shelf. And then finally, for my favorite cube in this unboxing, we have the Meilong 13x13. And as you can see, this is one of the only cubes that I was just too excited to do first turns on video with. And I just really wanted to show my family this cool pattern, because on a 13x13, this looks so much better than on a 9x9. Whenever I first unboxed this, I thought it was just like as big as the 10x10, but then I felt the 10x10 and this thing felt tiny. It feels like it has 5 pieces and it just fits super well in my hand, whereas this thing is absolutely ginormous and it actually turns pretty well. Whenever I first unboxed it, the middle layers were kind of sluggish and very catchy, but once I've broken it down a little bit, it's definitely loosened up and gotten a little bit better. But yeah, this is my absolute favorite pattern on big cubes, especially on odd layered cubes. Tell me that is not just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, this is the cheapest 13x13 on the market. I mean, it turns really well. This should be a really fun cube to solve. Now that I have a new phone and a lot more storage, I'll probably make a video of me doing a full solve on this. I might upload a time-lapse video and a full video. So if you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comments. So now I just need to get the 11x11 and 12x12 to fill in the space. but I thought since it was my birthday, I'd just get the 13 by 13 for now. So now I actually have a reason to get the other cubes to fill in. Alright, so that's gonna be it for this unboxing. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to hit the like button. And if you're new to this channel, definitely make sure to subscribe as well. Also, don't forget to comment down below what you think of the new quality and editing, and if you have any video ideas for the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.